And welcome to USA Global TV, home of Talking Heads, and welcome to our friends listening on Business Talk Radio out of New York. I'm Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, and it's been one heck of a week for broadcasting, just having so much fun, meeting new people, learning new things. So thank you for your loyalty. Our program today is presenting Pet Psychic Aminah, and this is show number 39, which means we have been working together for 39 weeks. Can you imagine? We didn't even know each other, and now we're together every week. And the great news is the show is going forward into next year. So I will not keep Aminah waiting anymore. Let's bring out Pet Psychic Aminah. Hi.
Hello. I'm in the wings.
Hello.
I've never been in the wings.
In the wings backstage. So how about that 39 shows? Do you believe it?
I was sharing some links, and I got to finally where all ours are, and it's like 38. When did that happen? It just goes by so fast. But as you said, I'm just so blessed. Great guests, great people I got to thank in the beginning, with people that got me where I am today, with coaches and that kind of stuff. And now we're really centering on the animal world and everything that goes with it. Our guest, I think last week, we were talking travel. And
amazing.
It was wonderful. And that poor woman got up at 6 a.m. to do it because she was in Australia. But wrote some amazing books. And we've got Dottie coming up, I think next week or the second week. And she's talking about spirituality and that type of stuff. So we really got a plethora of topics for people to take a little bit of this or a little bit of that. And
you've got a great guest coming who specializes in feeding homeless pets.
Oh my gosh, yes.
I mean, that's amazing. I mean, how many times do people even think about that?
I read her bio and saw the stuff that, I have to be really careful because I want to know enough to ask intelligent questions, but yes. I want to be as surprised and have the joy that everybody else feels when they hear that, when we talk about that topic. So everybody's like, well, do you want to interview me? And I'm like, yeah, a little, I want to hear how you speak. I want to hear how you talk and that kind of stuff. But I'm lucky to be an empath, so I can kind of feel what you talk to me and what you email me and you like and that kind of stuff, and hear your voice through that. Because I want to be as engaged as the audience is.
Yes, I agree with you. Same thing with me. People will say, I want to talk to you. No, I don't need to talk to you first. I need little snippets. I'll talk to you backstage. I've read your bio, Right. So I get that. And something else I want to share with our viewers and listeners, as we know, 2021 is quickly coming to an end. We have a special event that is on New Year's Day. Aminah and I will be hosting an hour of this 6-hour live event. So if you've been a guest on the show, and Aminah, I'm going to leave it up to you as to who actually comes on the show, but we'd love to have people drop in and tell us what they learned from this year, I should say, and what they're putting out there for next year.
That's wonderful. I'll put together something with an invite to everybody. I'm having the best time on Canva. It's just, I'm not terribly creative, and it really, really lets you do that. So it's been a lot of fun putting those types of things. And what we have some great, you have your graphics and the channel and all that, and it's made it easy for us hand challenged our artists. Drag and drop. I can do it.
I actually signed up for Canva Pro only because I have to make so many of these things every week. And right. Believe me, I know from people who are experts at it that I don't do a great job, but it's just, and folks, in case you're wondering what we're talking about the social media posters.
Right.
And so every week we have, if we have 18 shows, we have to have 18 posters that are all done by So, but anyway, I wanted to segue over to the fact that we are in the time of year where the holidays are quickly approaching. We've got Halloween coming up. We've got across the world, there's all different holidays, and people will look to get unique, unusual
That's
gifts.
A good word.
Unique. And many times people decide to get a pet
right.
for a gift. So I'd love to have you weigh in on what your thoughts are, the do's, the don'ts, what to look out for.
Right. And I know a lot of people are going to just assume that I'm going to say, absolutely don't do it. There is a, as you just said, there is a scale of do's and don'ts. It's never always don't, except for don't shoot anybody, even a burglar maybe, because that'll be complicated. But there aren't a lot of life things that just are finite in do's and don'ts. I would prefer that you don't get a pet as a gift, because the person who is going to be the primary caregiver of that animal, and if it's for a child, it should be the child, and your children should be old enough to be able to do the basics, clean the litter box, pick up the waste, take them for a short walk, and all of this with smaller children. Anybody under, I'm gonna be really conservative. So anybody under 10 should have adult supervision. Older siblings possible, but they're not much more mature than the child. Depending on how many pets you have had in the past and that type of stuff. Even I have made mistakes. We all do, and that's how we learn. I don't care how many years of education. Sadly, veterinarians make mistakes. They're human. It happens, and so we try very hard to do our best not to have that happen. So my caution is, first and foremost, wait. Go to the shelters, go pet the pets, go, have it be an outing. And I know a couple of our shelters, they have bunnies and guinea pigs and chickens there and roosters the other day. And they were in cages in the middle of the dogs and cats that were behind other doors. So go. The pet that's right for you might not be a dog or a cat. It might be the guinea pig. It might be a snake. It might be a bird. And those might be horrible choices for you. You need to do your research. Libraries are amazing. As my kids would say, Google it. Everybody who's been here knows I say that a lot, because it's so simple now online to do the research. And even if you're getting this for a gift, make sure you know the person. And if you have children, of course you know them. What I mean by that is, where are they at in their observation of that needs to be picked up, or somebody's going to trip on it. That needs to be cleaned, and their room looks like World War III, took a dive in dirty clothes or whatever. If you have these personality traits and or habits is even a better word, then you need to really tailor what type of pet you're looking for. And if it's a family pet, then you need to have a talk about, well, if we ever decide to do this, let's go research them and all that kind of stuff. And maybe in February we'll get one, and, maybe it shows up December 26th, but, that at least gets everybody talking about the pros and cons, because animals are living, breathing, sentient beings that deserve our love and our patience. So going through that, we're going to go into a lot deeper, but there's the overall look. I'm not saying no, I'm saying there is a path to doing it right.
Thanks, Aminah. One thing I think is also important to think about, because I actually did this, I'm just going to be honest, as an adult with 3 dogs at the time. My life changed significantly, and I basically turned them over to my mother. So I think you have to think about, how will your life look? What happens if there are these circumstances, and who's going to take care of the pets if you decide, or something happens? Because they're going to, God willing, they'll live a long time. And
you've got to have a 15-year plan. I don't care if you're talking about a guinea pig that lives anywhere from 6 to 8 years. Maybe you get the one that lives 10. What happens if you get a parrot? You better plan for the next 50 years, because they live a really long time. We talk about, with my colleagues and I talk about, you need to have a will. People, I use this story because it's so heartfelt for me, especially as an empath, but as a small child, my best friend's parents were killed. They were, he was an Air Force pilot his whole career, and they died in a single engine crash that he was flying to dinner. He was going to dinner with another couple. And in those days, this was in the 70s. So I was really young. And my girlfriend calls me. She was my best friend for forever. We'd known each other for a long, long time. I was 10. It was a long time. I was 5 and then I was 10. And like I said, then she moved a few times. She called me one night and said, like 7, 8, 9 o'clock at night. And I'd never get a call that late. And she said, oh, my parents are dead. And I'm thinking, excuse me? Nobody, that's not funny. Because I thought, if she's being funny, because she was just deadpan, the person, the attitude. And I said, how would you even know that? Because they went to dinner. They went to go to Barstow here in California. They were going to fly from Southern California through to Barstow, the desert, for dinner. And he was in a single engine plane. This is a man who does this for a living. And something happened and they crashed and they all died instantly. They crashed into a freeway, I believe. And she said, well, it was on the 8 o'clock news. And in those days, they gave out so much information, and it's illegal now to do that. They gave out so much information that the family could figure it out. Because her grandmother was with them, and she was watching the news. And so and then the police showed up at their house. But this is what I'm talking about. Life happens when we don't expect it. So I want you to expect it, because these lives matter. Did they have plans for their daughters and their children? Absolutely. I did too. As soon as my kids were born, we made a plan. What's going to happen? Because I lived through it. And still there was turmoil in the family because the girls were heading towards teenagehood and nobody wanted 3 teenagers in the family. So they split them up. They divided them up. It was, I saw her later in her 20s and it was bad. It was really bad. So don't think your pets won't go through the same thing.
So I think what you're saying is you need a plan for your pets and include in your will as well what's going to happen if something happens to you.
Because what happens if you get that one animal you don't know is a purebred, last breathing female on the planet or male on the planet, and you've got World War III going on with the animal and nothing comes out of that good or that bad. So you need to talk to people. The same thing you tell them, hey, will you take my children if something happens to me? And we did that. We made sure we talked to 2 or 3 couples and said, this is what we would like to do, because I didn't, my sisters already had children. So this was going to have to go to the other side of the family. And I have family in the Middle East. Oh, what am I going to ship them over there as little? No. So you have to have a plan, and then you have to plan on another plan. You've got to have that, because people do pass away or they change their mind. And then you have a path to this. So if you see what we're talking about, getting a pet is not simple. It's not any longer just go down to the pet store, pick up a rat and bring it home and then let it go. It's not going to be able to work.
So I have a question for you, which this is sort of a logistics question, but it's a serious question. So I remember, decades ago, I don't even know where or when, but somebody was giving someone a gift, like a parent was giving a child a gift, and they had the dog in a box and there were no holes. Like the dog was in a box.
Wow.
I mean, how do you actually give someone a pet if it's supposed to be a gift that it's going to be all wrapped?
Well, they make netting and that type of stuff. And what I suggest is the best thing you can do if you're going to give a gift to somebody, put it in a dog carrier. It's got windows and grates all over it. And if it goes potty while you're waiting, you hopefully have a towel at the bottom or something. But it's twofold. The animal is contained safely. And also, you've now just given them a perfect size carrier for their animal. So it's going to be used, and especially when the animal's new, if it's big enough and they can turn around, which they should be able to, for comfort reasons, then there's a place that they can sleep, and you just either leave the gate open after a couple of days when they get used to going around, but they also have a place that is already theirs, that already smells like them, it already is comfortable, and that type of stuff, because their blanket smells and all that kind of thing. Does that make sense?
It does. It makes perfect sense. And it sounds like it's a win-win, because the animal already has their new home and they're acclimating to it.
Yeah, they have some place they can say, this is mine, till I figure out the bigger scale. It's like taking an animal out to the wild and saying, just hang out here by this tree. somebody will be by, or whoever family, let's say your family's out there camping. That's a lot of space for, especially if you're getting a little one, if you're getting a baby. 6 months or 6 weeks, I don't care. It's pretty intimidating. Can you imagine if you're not the camping type and somebody says, hey, let's go out and sit under a tree for the next 3 days, and you're like, what?
That would be me. I'm not the camping type, but
I was gonna guess, but I don't know. I spent my whole life camping, so I got it. When we got a trailer with air conditioning, my mom was like in bliss, and my dad said, this is not camping, and she said, it is for me after all these years. But he stopped it at televisions, because those had already come in where people were putting antennas. He says, that's not camping. Outside is where we need to be.
That's right. It's not the real thing.
Think of how thoughtful the gift is, even if it's to your own family and your own child. And that type of stuff. You've got already the makings of a home, a safe place, as they acclimate to your noises, your smells, your life. I mean, if I had a dream, I would say, let's play the scenario that you're the parent and you're buying this pet. And if you're the aunt or uncle, you better be talking to the parents, because
yes,
they might disown you, as any relatives in that puppy might be coming back to you, especially a young animal, The mid-age and older are a little more settled in their behaviors. They can change. They absolutely can change. If we can change at this age or any other age, animals can too, with love and patience and logic. If it's logical what you're asking them to do, I don't let one of our cats is not allowed in the kitchen, but one is, because her food is in here, but she has special food, so we don't want the other cat in here, so he doesn't eat it. When we're gone, the food gets picked up, and our cat, who doesn't have any food now, she either goes and steals his food upstairs, or she just waits till we get home, because we know she's eaten. So you have the room to make these adjustments and traits when they have that safe space of the carrier. And you're going to need that to go to the vet. You're going to need that to travel. Animals should not be unrestrained in a car. And
by the way, I just saw this. Somebody had their dog with a seatbelt in the front seat.
And they make the whole harness, because it's so much safer. The harness distributes. What does a seatbelt do that crosses over us? It distributes the impact, so that you're not, because when we just had, and we're not going to say how old we are, but we had just belts around our little waist.
Yes, that's right. And remember, I hate to say this, there was a time that there were no seatbelts. I think it was before 1986. I don't remember, but something I wanted to discuss, we have to take a break right now, is I'd like to come back and have you talk. We've discussed this before, but it's relevant. Where to purchase the pets? Do we go to rescue center? Do we go to a puppy mill? Do we get a high-end breeder? What is it that we do? So let's come back on that. That's right. Okay, wonderful.
They all have reasons to use them.
Okay, fabulous. And because it's Friday, I love to play some uplifting music. So first we're going to hear from Tony Moore, Route 66, and then we're going to hear from Madeline Chan, Follow Love, and then we'll be right back. All right, here we go.
What you give me is just not enough. I need a love to take me higher and higher and higher. Every step I take, I feel more awake. Getting closer now, I feel so alive. Stopping me, this is how I live. Ever closer now. Just follow love, and love will take you there. Follow me, just follow love, and love will take
guess what? We're back. Here we are. USA Global TV and Business Talk Radio. This show is presenting Pet Psychic Aminah. There she is presenting her. And I'm Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. So we are talking in our first segment about giving pets as gifts. And now Aminah is going to give us some information about how to acquire gifts, where to go, and what you should expect. So Aminah, over to you.
First, biggest, think bold, font 922 on the Richter scale or something. I really want to impress everybody that you should be adopting from shelters. First of all, they have all their vaccines. They have been health checked repeatedly. They are what you see. They are getting great care. If you ever really want to get to know them, volunteer for the shelters. And you're really going to get to know, and of course you're going to, if you're me, then you fall in love with all of them and want to bring them all home and that type of stuff. But the shelters you're going to give you the whole package. They're going to be spayed and neutered. They're going to be up on their vaccines, and you're going to have people to talk to who are in with these animals, taking care of these animals, and giving you, oh, this one really loves to chase balls. If that really fits with your family, great. This one loves to cuddle and snuggle. Then that's the one for you. You need to know what your lifestyle is like. And what's good about now is so many people are home almost full time. I know a lot of people are going back into the office. So if you're gone at the office all day, a cat is a really good choice because they're just going to sleep all day, and then you have food or whatever you decide. There is a lot about do you free feed, meaning there's food and water out all the time. Water should always be available. That is universal. Humans, animals, plants don't need to be watered all the time, but it should be something they get on a regular basis. Animals should have the choice to drink anytime they want, and have a litter box. Clean litter boxes are paramount to good health. I clean mine a little more excessively because I don't like the idea that my cat, even though it's covered, is walking around my house that we don't even wear shoes in with kitty litter feet. So I do clean it twice a day just because I am that type of person, but you should at least clean it once a day.
I want to jump in on that. If you don't mind. You just touched on something that is so important. You have your animal, and your animal goes outside. You walk the dog, the cat, whatever the situation is, and then they come back into the house, everything that they stepped on, and now they're in your bed. Right?
Yay.
This happens all the time, and I did it myself. I've stopped doing it. Of course, now I don't have pets. But if you think about it, that's like you
going barefoot,
walking. Yeah, if you walk and then you sleep with your shoes on your face, right? The soles. You know what I mean? Like it's
your paws are. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So that could probably be another show, but I think
exactly. No, but we can. It's part of owning a pet. I love that you bring it up because these are things that people go, oh, I don't like that. Okay, so if you're serious that you want another life, and I want to make that, I should have put a storyboard up here. This is a living being that has a right to a good life, medical care, food, exercise, time with you. They are sentient beings and they deserve all of that. So again, don't get one if you're not going to pay attention. I'll give you a short example. Hedgehogs. They're not legal everywhere, but they also sleep a great deal. And people are always like, oh, they're just asleep. And then they finally check on them a couple, 3-4 days, weeks later and find out they're dead because they didn't check on them. They just assumed that they were all sleeping and they were too cold and they died, or they got too hot and they died. Most of the time, hedgehogs die because they're too cold. Snakes go through the same thing. So you need to know what you're adopting so that you know what they have on the parameter of they need. If you got a dog, it needs to be walked. It needs to be taken out to go to the bathroom. It needs this. It needs grooming maybe. You're going to get a poodle or something else that needs to be groomed because they can't see or they can't whatever. you need to understand the cost, because this all comes down to time and money, and they're identical. Time and money go hand in hand. You either have the time or you have the money to pay somebody else, or you have the money and no time. How is this different? It's not different. So time and money on what breed and what care it needs. And some people go, oh, it's an animal. It can go outside and feed themselves. That's a whole thing on its own, because if you're letting your cat, let me go with this. Cats are strictly carnivores. Yes, they'll eat other things, but in their dietary thing, they really, really go for the meat. Dogs are omnivores. They will eat everything, everything, but they'll eat vegetables and meat. We had our shepherd who loved our plums. My sister-in-law was always worried I was giving her the plums that the dog had already licked. And it's like, no, those were on the tree. So they are different. Again, know what you're adopting, know what you're adopting. And if you're going to have them in an environment where they're not getting enough exercise, or they're not getting enough of what they're doing, then and you're not feeding them something healthy that they need, then you're going to get all kinds of illnesses. I've seen everything from the color of their fur to fall out and then look terrible, their eyes, all of those things. Hip dysplasia is a whole different thing with shepherds and slanted hip dogs. What happens if you get a dog like that and their hips go out? Do you have the finances to pay for that? Or is this something that is a death sentence because you can't afford the medical care? These are expenses. If you're going to get a big dog, do you have $20 to $50 a month to buy them food? Because they're big for a reason. You get a bull mastiff, he's a little bit shorter, but he might have a voracious appetite. You're going to get a St. Bernard, you might need a little bit more money and that type of stuff.
And by the way, I want to jump in on that as well. So I've lived in high-rise apartments in various times of my life, and sometimes, no judgment, but you get on the elevator and there's this giant dog. Like literally, it's a giant dog.
It is. Well, you get the Great Danes and you're like, mini horse? Really?
And I'm thinking, you're living, like, suppose you got it, the biggest you could get is a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, and the dog can't, like, I don't know, it doesn't make sense to me.
Well, and you, believe it or not, the big dogs, now I don't want to sell these people. This is not me a selling pitch. Go get big dog. But the bigger dogs are hilarious because they're typically, and you have to, there's a lot of words I'm leaving out, but I'm going to just go with that one small one. Typically are more gentle, are more easygoing because, and Jacalyn, I love you, and I'm sure you're at least 5'2".
I'm 5'3".
But a Saint Bernard would look at you and go, pillow, let's go sit on it. You know, I'm still 5'6" or so. I topped out at 7. I'm going down as I age.
We're going down. Yep.
Yeah, here we go. And so they are just big, slobbery, Saint Bernard specifically, slobbery, giant, loving giants. It's the little ones you have to watch out, those ankle biters, as people call them, because they got serious issues. But I really say I love them all. The yappy ones, not so much, because it's like talking to somebody. It would be like talking to me when in my 20s. Blah, 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 blah.
So wait, so do you like the kind of dog that you could actually get on the floor and hug them like it's a person, or do you want the ones you can just hold? You don't like the little yappy ones, you're saying?
No. I would rather get a cat at that side because they're so fuzzy and fun. And I'm not a fan, personally, not a fan. I had shepherds and the big dogs. When I was younger, my neighbor had a Saint Bernard, and I'm younger. I was like 8, and I just came home slathered in slobber, and I had the best time because we literally, my neighbor and I, were small enough to just stay under his midsection. He stood there and he just went, okay, we're doing this again. And let me really reiterate, they're not riding dogs. They're you will ruin their back in so fast. Shepherds specifically, we rescued one And he was not even 2 yet, but he'd been dumped in a backyard with a 60-foot septic tank hole. They took the septic tank out and left the hole, but they left the dog too. Don't even get me started. And when we came to look at the house, he kept running into the hole, and I'm thinking, you want to get in the hole? And then I looked in the hole, all his balls were in the hole. So don't even get me started on that kind of stuff. But shepherds are a great example because I have so much experience with them. We had 2, is that they have been the slant in their hip has really taken off with people wanting a look. They're also cropping ears, and Dobermans attend to that. I'm hoping people are still getting away from that, but just think about it this way. If you decided your feet were too big, and in some countries that used to be a thing that they would wrap them, and the women would have, in Asian cultures, would wrap them and want them to be very delicate and very small and petite or whatever that is. The dogs have these same hang-ups with humans. The humans started it. And so they want this deep slant. It is horrid for their spinal cord. It is horrible for their hips. That's why they have the hip dysplasia in so many breeds. If you're cropping their ears, it is exactly, in my estimation, I'm not the only voice out here, but it's exactly like you getting cosmetic surgery on your dog's ears. They have to be propped up. They have to be cut. It's very painful, and it's ridiculous because you want a new look. A perm, a couple of rollers, some stinky chemicals, and you're done. I mean, if you want to talk about techniques of doing things, apples and oranges, not even in the same fruit. But if you don't like the way your dog looks, don't get that dog. But
hello.
I'm sorry. I try to be simple. But if you have if you are a weak person and you need a big fat dog, big bull mastiff, something like that to make you look better, I promise it won't. Because
just get some coaching or therapy or something.
Go to a psychologist. It'll be cheaper. Right.
Yeah, take care of yourself. Well, I do have a question you mentioned. I think you said Saint Bernard, and I don't know if this is the breed or not, but there's one breed of dog that has very large jowls, and they have a lot of saliva in there that ends up. Yeah, is there anything you can do about that?
Bring a towel. I'm literal. This is not a joke, because they're the way they have been put together. And I don't remember. I haven't read about this stuff in decades because I knew this all 10 years ago. But they come that way, and sometimes it's the way they breed. But yes, they drool everywhere. And I've seen people just carry around lots of towels, because one towel's not going to get you through a day. Might get you through a half a car ride, depending how far you're going. You go 10 miles, yeah, you got one towel. One towel will work. But that's what's great about the dollar store. That's what's great. And I don't think it's $1 anymore, but I'm going to keep calling it that. I haven't been.
I think it's $5.
Yeah, the Goodwill and all that kind of stuff, or your old towels. We used to do that when my mom was a painter, and with oil paintings and stuff. So we would just take old towels, and she would use them until they literally disintegrated. They'd use them for the dogs. You can use kitchen towels. They're easy to travel with. But if you're going to try to take out the glands, and you have a vet that's doing that. Now, we just finished a series I did on my Facebook, and you and I just did one on taking out the claws, declawing. Right. It's the same thing. If you're going to take out the jowls and you're going to take out the God-given saliva, why he slobbers so much, that's I haven't looked that up in a long time, so I'll have to get back to you on that one, but a vet can tell you, and Google too. There is a reason for that. But the same thing, if you're going to change the animal you have through breeding or whatever you're doing, I can't imagine that if you look at source, and I mean wolves are source, but as you go through the dog breeds, because I mean, have you seen a Chihuahua? I don't think he looks like a wolf. I don't even think he looks like the feet of a wolf. Because if you see the wolf, so we have done some bizarre things to animals and that kind of stuff. Now, your shepherds are much closer than to the wolf, and your bull mastiffs and the bigger dogs are going to get genetically closer, because those, you have that mixture of the huskies in the more colder areas and that type of stuff. You're going to live in Alaska, great, get a double coated dog. That's literally what it is. The shepherds, when you brush them, and these other dog breeds that I'm talking about, have two coats. They have a very close coat, and then they have the longer coat that you see. That's why you take it when you brush them. You're like, man, I'm building another dog here. It's just acres of hair, but you'll also keep your home cleaner. You'll keep them healthier. It's like not brushing your hair.
Right.
It's not healthy.
It's not good.
If you're going to not shower, nobody wants to be around you. Nobody wants to be around your dog either.
Let's have a list of those people that are unshowered. So
exactly. And I'm going to stay on this before we get to another commercial. Everybody, I see it around here lately a lot where I am, and you've got dog feces on the sidewalk, on the planters. Okay, people, it's not biodegradable. Unless you're going to feed them deer and vegetables, it's not biodegradable because it's not natural. It's the same thing if you go poop on the sidewalk. First of all, hopefully somebody gives you a citation, but but we don't eat good things. Okay, everybody saw I have a 7-Up, so it's like that. No, we're not eating caveman. We're not eating this. We have preservatives in everything. We have sugar in everything, and I mean meat. Have you seen barbecue sauce? Probably first ingredients is sugar, but everything we have is now preserved. That's why so many, I know in our family, we have gone to organic. It has really, really helped. My daughter got COVID, and she wasn't around hardly anybody, but she also never was hospitalized, and she was in the young category. They had her rest at home, and she eats, now she's vegan also, but she eats only organic. Mm-hmm. And we all do. So you will recover faster. It's just an example that I personally know somebody. I'm not saying it's the only way to do it. So please don't misunderstand. I'm just saying I have personal experience with somebody in my life who has made a different choice in her life. And I saw her go through this time of our world, healthier, faster recovery. Not only was she young, but they said she could stay home because of her diet, exercise, and healthy lifestyle. They said, no, she'll do better if you stay away from the exposure also. And so her mother-in-law and her husband, everybody was there for her. And she said, I laid on the couch for about 3 weeks. I didn't feel very good, but she did it on her own because of her lifestyle.
Right. So she was at home.
Do this for your pets. Understand that you pay for what you get. And I don't mean the best top breeder. We can talk about where do you get pets? Well, again, shelters.
I think it's probably shelters.
Yeah, because right now, sadly, people are all starting to go back to work and have for the last 3 months, and we're going to get more. And so all the animals that disappeared out of the shelters and they all went somewhere, half or more are back. Because everybody got busy again, and the animals aren't a commitment. And that's something I talk about constantly, is they've just got to be a lifetime commitment. It's you don't have a child and then when they're 10 go, I don't like teenagers. I'm not doing that. Somebody else take them. And maybe you do that, but please don't. Because make a commitment.
I agree. And one more topic I wanted to discuss as we close out today, when we're talking about pets as gifts and the holidays. And I think this is important. So you own a pet and you're hosting a holiday party, and your pet is now part of the family, and the pet is meandering through all of the people, some of whom are not happy about your pet being at the party. So what do you do with your pets when you have people over? I mean, do you care if people like pets, if they have allergies, they don't, or just your pet is part of the family and that's it?
Well, it comes down to this. Do you care about your guests ever coming back? Do you care about making them comfortable, or is it about you, the royal you? Because we can all be selfish. It is humanity's, and we're living that choice every single day. Oh, I don't want to, whatever. I don't want to turn on my headlights. Do you remember the seatbelt law? I actually had a cousin. I was at a funeral for our uncle, and she's like, no, I'm not going to wear a seatbelt. That's ridiculous. And I'm thinking, okay, put this all together, dude. This, first of all, it was a law by then. And second of all, we just came from our uncle's funeral. Would you like to be added? And people have learned that. So my thing is,
wait, I want to say something. I have one more for you on that subject. How about when you're with someone who decides they're not going to wear the seatbelt, and the dinging is happening the entire time you're with them in the car because they won't put the seatbelt on? It's like, don't you hear that dinging, that warning to put the seatbelt on? I'm not wearing the seatbelt, but you don't mind the dinging the whole. It's just
I know for me, some people, of course, click it behind them, and I'm like, no, I'm sorry, this isn't going to work, because I can't be the driver and you die on my route because somebody hit us.
Right.
This happened a few years ago on the freeway going by San Francisco Airport, and some drunk guy was running down the freeway the opposite direction and took out a young girl and her mother. And they were perfectly seatbelted there, everything. You can do your best, but if you don't even show up to do your best. So coming back to having a dog or cat, I don't care, or a parrot in the room, because a lot of people are afraid of parrots. Oh my God, that beak, what are they going after you? Well, then the owner sucks because they're treating it wrong. Anyways, I would highly recommend, for the pet's sake, let's turn this around to keep the pet away, because we all love them. And if you know all your friends either know your pet because you've had them at your home, or love pets or whatever, but you should keep an eye on them all the time, or have a family member that keeps an eye on them, so that you can see if somebody gets uncomfortable. There's that look, or they back up or whatever, or you say, let me introduce you to my dog before everybody comes. You want to come a few minutes early. And if you're still not comfortable, then, he can sleep in his room, in his blah, blah, blah. It's not going to hurt the dog. It's not going to hurt the cat's feelings. It's about you. It's about the person who is either demanding that nothing changes, even with company. And to me, that's not respecting your company. We have a very, sadly, self-centered community in the world, me, myself, and I, and this is the way I want it, and this is the way I'm going to do it. But why have a party unless you're just there to brag or something like that? I would want to do what's best for my pet. And if somebody's uncomfortable, I would say, may we come out and say hello, and I have them in my arms, unless it's a German Shepherd, they're not in my arms, but like the cat or something like that, because it's good for my cat to figure out people are nervous sometimes. And then sometimes this is their first time petting a cat, but then the cat goes away and goes to sleep, and they go, oh, cats are not as scary as I thought. It's the people that are causing the anxiousness, because they're not listening to the fact that you have a right to be afraid. If you don't like lizards, great. I'm not going to get my lizard out. I absolutely adore spiders. Black widows love me. I have no idea why. But I also have sat with one right next to my desk for a year. And they come and go and all that kind of stuff. But I love that they eat the flies. I really don't like the flies. I don't live in a place with mosquitoes, but I don't like the flies. So you need to understand, it could be best for your pet to not be under people's feet. God forbid you have somebody who's didn't see him and trips on them, and the animal gets crushed, the person gets hurt. Anything that might go wrong could. And wouldn't you rather have everybody, and guess how your night's going to go, or your day at the party? You're going to relax, have a good time, not be ticked off that your friend Betty doesn't like your dog.
I've actually seen this where someone doesn't like the dog or the pet, and the owner tries to force the person to like them.
And that's why I keep saying, please let me change the scenario. It's not about you. It's about your pet. Do you love your pet? Because if I make it about the person that you don't care about your guest, then most people go, well, they need to get over it. Well, then they shouldn't be friends with you, because you don't care about the people you're inviting into your world, into your life, much less into your home. And I might be a traditionalist that when you have guests, they're guests. They're not there to do the dishes and clean and help you clean up at the end and all of that kind of stuff. Would you assume that they're going to bring all the food? Just whatever. So why would you assume that they have to like your pet? It comes back to where are your values and where's your confidence? What I see a lot with just the scenario, Jacalyn, you just gave, it is the person saying, everybody has to like my dog. And this is about you. This is about your self-consciousness.
Ego.
I have a dog that I can't control, but it's not my fault. And the trainer didn't train him. The breeder didn't breed him right. Or whatever's going on in your head, even if you don't say it out loud. But when you force anything on somebody, for example, you have people who smoke and they say, well, I'm going to smoke wherever I want. And I'm like, well, I'm really sorry, because then I'm not comfortable going to dinner with you, or they allowed, or going here or going there. I can't stand it on people's clothes. I don't even hang out with people who smoke, because they don't realize, because their nose really takes a toll of ever smelling anything again, because they're so surrounded by that smell. Your animals should not be the choosing place between your friends and not friends. If you have an animal that somebody is afraid of or doesn't care for animals, it's not about you. It's what's safe for your animal. Then put them away, because at some point you'll have somebody's foot out there and they'll push them away with their shoe or something like that. And the animal really, really wants to get love or hugs. No, if that's not the crowd, we do it when we have guests. We show the cats to them, so it's good for the cats to get used to other people. But we never, never, never say, here, hold my cat, as an edict. Do it or else. It's like, would you like to pet her? Would you like to do this? And if it's me, I'm like, oh yeah, give me the cat. But okay, so then you go to other people and say, no. I've never found I'm good with cats. When I got married, I had a cat. And I married somebody who only had wild cats in their life. So they were throwing rocks at them all the time because they were always hungry and they were feral and all that. And then he figured out, wait a minute, this is kind of cool. But it took 5 years. He just said, okay, that cat's going to stay over there. And the cat knew, nope, he's going to stay over there. So respect your guests, respect yourself. And on top of everything, in my world, respect and love your pets.
Fantastic.
As gifts. Unless you do it with the person who's getting it, like let's say you're getting it for their child, talk to the parent, work on it together, or make it a gift certificate and say, we're going to go to the shelter together. Because anybody who chooses a family member, this is what it is. You and I both do this. It's a family member. Then wouldn't you want to go to the orphanage, to the shelter, and be there to make that decision? It's a hard decision. I want you to make a heart decision.
It is.
Make a beautiful, we talked about Canva. You could make a beautiful gift certificate, and they can go when they're ready. And
when they're ready.
I will tell you how we got a guinea pig when we came to get a bunny. We got a bunny too, but it's a hilarious story. It's a pet psychic story.
Well, we'll talk about that next time. We've got a comment, Judith Fish, back again. Nice to have you. She's joining us from Hungary. Much greetings to you, both of you. What time is it there, Judith? It's got to be rather late. It's got to be, what time would it be? 8 hours later? So if Judith, if you're still there, let us know what time it is there.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
It is amazing.
Judith. And please, pass the word that pets shouldn't be gifts. They should be a choice, and the person who you think you're gifting this to should be involved, because it's like adopting a child or getting married. This is a life choice, and I don't know about you. I'm not really fond of arranged marriages. I haven't tried it, but it doesn't really sound like. What are these smells? Can have a conversation? I don't know.
I don't. That's interesting. We had someone on here, and I say this all the time, like guests come from all over the world and people have different thoughts on different things. So I never really weigh in on what the guest is saying, like, oh, that's wrong or that's right or whatever it is. We had a guest on recently, and I think it was a gentleman, and he was sharing that the reason why arranged marriages work is because there's nothing that's preconceived about the other person.
Well, expectations.
So, right. Wish I could remember who that was.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, well, Aminah, we have to log off for today. I know you're starting your day. You're earlier than I am, but
it's been 2 o'clock. But on Fridays, this is my end. I've just had a crazy, crazy fun week. I hope you guys did too. And we're going to have a wonderful time. I think it's what is our New Year's Day, New Year's week?
January 1st.
There you go.
January 1st. It's the 2021 holiday reunion show. Aminah and I have an hour of the 6th, and Aminah will be inviting whoever she wants to join. And it's not an interview. It's people dropping in.
Yep.
Just having fun, having a chat. And who knows, maybe everybody will be on the screen at the same time, or we'll do I don't know. We'll figure it out.
A class picture.
Yeah.
It'll be a show picture, but see, nobody would have understood that. I'll move to the word show picture and have a picture. But I feel really, really blessed to be a part. And now I have signed that contract. We're going to do this for another year. And I got offered something the day after, and I went, nope, already made my commitments.
How about that? Look at that. Timing's
and that
timing's
kind of stuff.
everything.
So, love having you, and we've had a great time. So you guys want to hear something new, always drop us a message, and I will talk to you about that, even if you can't come live. You're going to listen to this on YouTube or on the channel, wherever you see this. Please reach out to Dr. Jacalyn or myself. Obviously, I'm bridgingworlds.us, and you can drop me a message there.
And by the way, I also want to share, we have a number of new people who are on the channel, which I love. We had a couple new people from Twitch. So anyway, if you are really enjoying what we're doing, please share it with other people. Let other people in your network know about it and where to find us. We've got all new formatting coming for 2022, and we've got just so much to deliver to help people that we want as many people as possible to know about us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it changes all the time, and it's wonderful. If you watch me during commercials, I dance and sing because she has these amazing singers and other thing. And I love, because I'm able to cook and listen, and I don't just watch and that kind of stuff. So you can really just add it to your day or your drive. And that
sure can,
because there's so much diversity on that. And we are all, Jacalyn and myself and everybody, are on LinkedIn. We're on Facebook. And you can find it. I know for me, you can find all this, the links to get to the YouTube channels.
Fantastic. Before we go, I'll just leave you there with me. We've got some new shows that I just want to let people know about. Great. One of them is the United Kitchens. That's actually on Fridays. It was on 2 or 3 shows before this, but it's kind of cool because we've got Simon McDonald. He's over in Scotland. And then we've got Ricky McKenna. She's in Texas. They never met each other. I put them together, and now they're cooking up a storm. So we've got that. The show right before this was brand new. It's called The Corner Bookstore, and that's featuring authors. So if you've written a book and you want to share with us what was the motivation behind it and how it's changed your life and how you're changing other people's lives. Next week, we have a new show that's about diversity and inclusion. I'm really excited about that. And we also had one more new show, which is the power of etiquette and manners. And that's also on Fridays. So,
yay! We should get together with manners and etiquette and Pets 101 and say, no, don't let your dog jump up on people, you crazy people.
You know what? That's actually a good idea.
And we talked about parties just already today. And yeah, no, I'm a big fan of, you know what? Don't let your children, furry or otherwise, slobber on people and jump on people. And, oh, they're so nice. Well, that doesn't mean they like animals or little kids.
Right, right. Right. You would be a great guest on that show. The only thing is it's at 7 a.m. your time.
I know how to get out of bed before 7.
Guess what? I have a conference call tomorrow. I have to be on at 5:20 a.m. Like go. not 5, not 5:30.
My daughter's always wondering what planet I fell off. And at 4 a.m., I text 2 family members, said, oh, just so you guys know, I'm out walking. I couldn't sleep. And I live in a place where it's so private. And it was just beautiful. The stars were out. The moon was out. It was lovely. And 5 other people were walking their dogs at 4 a.m. I was like, go home. God. Could you imagine your dog's going to go to the bathroom that bad that you're up?
Well, I do find that because of this platform and because we have people all over the world in different time zones, people are always reaching out to me about something. They want to ask something. They want to do something. Can I help them with something? So I do check my phone throughout the night, which I know is bad, but I might go to sleep at 9 and then I'll wake up at 12 because it's 5 somewhere. And then I'll go back to sleep for a couple of hours. I want to make sure everybody is, excuse me, is that I respond to everybody in a timely manner.
But I think we'd all understand that you need to sleep at some point. You got to keep that beautiful skin and hair and nails all happy somewhere, and sleeping is part of that. I know makeup does some of it. It really helps.
I do know that there's some things makeup can't cover, because when I've had really bad skin rashes, it's like, it doesn't matter. But.
And if you nod off in the show, eventually we're going to notice. Exactly. Okay. This is what you get if you come to our show. Just
having a good time and providing entertainment and information. So I'm going to spotlight you. Please do tell us how we can get in touch with you. By the way, I saw you have some additional Facebook pages that I wasn't aware of. So maybe you want to talk about that.
No, Bridging Worlds is the only one that I use for this platform. It's all about animals, and it's all about answering your questions. Bridging Worlds on Facebook is there. So, of course, I have a personal page, but we're not going to do that one. That's just for my very large family. And, of course, I have a regular page that I would love to have you, and it's very diverse and that kind of stuff. But I'm not going to just talk about animals. Bridging Worlds is the animal page. I just started a group, a Bridging Worlds group, and we're kind of figuring out what we're doing. And I got really busy to not do the lives as much as I would have liked to. So I might get back to doing that. Everything, all these links you can find on my website. I've tried to be very inclusive, and it is bridgingworlds.us. And that's the simplest way to look me up. Check out everything I've got. I am on YouTube. I haven't done a great deal, except because I'm doing so many things with collaboration, which is in my heart. I love working with other people because I think we can all do better together as opposed to just me. And I'd love to talk to your group if you ever need it and help you guys do your pets better. And you can call me for a reading. That is easy all over the world. I have clients all over the world because all I need is a phone call or a Zoom, whatever you prefer, but I don't need to see your pets. I can hear them from wherever we are.
Wonderful. And please do reach out. I have to share a friend of mine who's also a co-host. She wrote a book. It's a #1 bestseller, new release on Amazon, I should say. And I actually took a picture of me holding the book, and somebody wrote, "I just ordered it. Thank you for sharing." So that's what we try to do here, is to promote everyone's businesses and to help people. So please do reach out to Aminah, and she will be glad to assist you.
Absolutely. Wherever you are. Again, I have clients in Croatia, France, now Spain, and a few other places. It's just a phone call. That's all we need. And I can talk to you on where you're at.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, my friend. I hope you have a lovely weekend, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Who is the guest?
You know what? Next week, I believe we have Lisa, and she is going to talk about, let's see. No, this is the homeless one, homeless pets.
Oh, that's good.
We have Genevieve. Genevieve is next, because that's November. I already skipped to December. Sorry. It's like, wait a minute, Genevieve. Oh my gosh, this is so neat. She's going to talk about pets for the homeless and how they're working with them and all that. I'm going to leave any other thing up to her to talk about, but I've just loved enjoying reading. We've talked about how animals are healing, and there's so many stray animals out there, and what better to somebody who understands homelessness than somebody who is homeless, and giving them that chance to have love in their life. And that is really hard. You find homeless people who have dogs and cats, and they struggle to feed them. And what a lot of them do is they feed their dog or cat first and not themselves. So really trying to get out there. If you ever want to just donate food to a shelter or a feed place, or some place that's putting meals together, please do. That type of stuff. I know when we had our pets pass, all the dogs, both of them passed, I took all that dog food over to the shelter and their dog carrier. And, the dog carrier was $150 at minimum because it was for a shepherd and that kind of stuff. So do that when you can. There's
always a way to get involved and help others.
And it's that simple. You drive by one day and say, oh, I can drop that off. oh, I can drop that off, good clothes and all that kind of thing. So we're going to talk about with Genevieve on November 5th.
Wonderful. I look forward to that and to meeting her. She reached out to me today, by the way, so I'm excited. So thanks for setting that up.
Yay. You're welcome. I'll talk to you on Friday.
All right. See you later. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone, for being a part of this platform and helping us grow. And as you just heard, Aminah is coming back next year, which is so exciting. I really enjoy working with her, and I've learned so much from her. As we close out the week, I have to share, as I look out the window of my studio, we're on the bay here, and there's a ton of wetlands, and the wetlands are all gone. They're completely submerged. It almost looks like with the bay that it is the ocean out there. I've never seen it in all the years of living here. So it reminds me that there are some things that we are completely not in control of. We're not in control of the tides, but we are in control of what we do with this planet, how we treat this planet, how we treat each other. And I'd like to close out today with a video called the Earthshot Prize. I want to thank Ian Pelham Turner and Helena Shard for sharing this with us. And I realize, again, when I look out there and see what's going on, there are definitely things happening to our planet, and we can do something to change the dynamic before it gets to be too late. As I mentioned, I've never, ever seen all the wetlands submerged, and I'm hoping that the tide will recede, but it actually is kind of scary. And I want us to gather together as a community of people, and each of us take the steps that we can to protect our planet, to lift each other up. And that's why I do this, to give you a platform to share your stories, to inspire other people. So thank you for inspiring me, and thank you for being here day after day, week after week, and show after show. It means so much. So let's take a look at the Earthshot Prize, and I'll be back next week. Take care of yourselves. Bye.
Ours is a world of wonder. Every day it reminds us of its beauty. It touches us, teaches us, and astounds us. But it also warns us that what we throw away does not go away. That higher temperatures mean a lot more than longer summers. That we can no longer take life as we know it for granted. We are at a unique stage in our history. Never before have we had such an awareness of what we are doing to the planet. And never before have we had the power to do something about that.